So before we switch the machine on, the first thing you have to consider is your posture. It's very important when you do any exercise that your posture is correct. So at any level, whether it's beginner, intermediate or advanced, you would always start with the postural exercise. We start with your feet. So relax the feet, relax the toes, bend the knees slightly, tuck tailbone forward, pull up on the stomach and just rest your hands lightly on the handles. I'm just going to switch the machine on now. So if it's your first time using the machine, then it's important that you do make sure you're holding on. The first few times you use the machine, I would advise you to have it on a slow speed. So start to bend the knees just a little bit more and you'll start to feel the thigh muscles work a little bit. Make sure you keep the back nice and straight. And as a little bit of a warm-up, just come up and down onto your toes. Good. And then back onto your feet again, and we're on to the first exercise. So if you just make sure that you've got a light touch on the safety bars here, and then going into a very shallow squat. So just lowering yourself as if you were reaching out to sit down. Good. And just hold that. Could you hold that for 30 seconds?
I'll try.
Okay. Good. Pay attention to your knees also. They should be in line with your ankles. So it should be ankles, knees and hips and shoulders all in a straight line. So standing up straight again, so always correcting your posture in between the exercises will ensure that you do each exercise correctly. So go back down into the squat position again. And this time what I'd like you to do is take your hands away from the console and just put your hands across your chest. That should challenge your balance a little bit more, just so you need to pull your tummy in. Good. And again, pay attention to the knees, just making sure that the knees don't come towards each other and also that they don't go out too far. So taking it back down into the squat again. So this time bringing the arms up. Remember, if you have any low back problems, this is not an exercise that would be appropriate for you. And this time, soft knees and reaching up to one side, holding on with the opposite hand. Keeping the knees soft at all times and the tailbone tucked forward just a little bit. So feeling a nice stretch on each side of the body. And over to this side. Making sure the shoulders stay nice and straight. Not moving the position of the feet. Keep the toes relaxed, knees soft. So just make sure you're always holding on to the safety bar, going into a slightly deeper squat. Still holding on. And then go up onto the toes of one foot. How does that feel? A wee bit more of a challenge?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Place the heel back down and onto the toes of the other foot. So if this is your first time doing any exercise, you may just want to hold a position like this just for a few seconds. Just try it. Just keep the hands with a light touch on the bars. We're going to turn the other way and do the same thing again, okay? So, if you could go down just to a shallow squat for me, just holding on. Just be careful when you're reaching back to the bars that it's not causing you to curl your back a little bit. So tuck tailbone forward. Good. Take the hands in front of the chest. And a shallow squat again. How does that feel?
That's good.
Okay. and reaching over to one side. Could you do that without holding on, do you think? Have a go. If this is your first time, you should always be holding on to the handles, okay? And over to the other side. And then just reach back so that you've got a light touch on the handles. Coming up onto the toes. Keep the knees soft, tuck tailbone forward and back down to the heels. And up. And back down. Going into a shallow squat again. This time raising the arms up. Remember, if you have any low back issues, this is not the exercise for you. It's important when the arms are raised that you pull tummy in, tuck tailbone forward, and the weight should be just shifted slightly to the outside edge of the feet. And we're going to wind it down now, you'll be glad to hear. So just having a little bit of a stretch, reaching out for the console here, reach out with the arms, push back, holding on here, and then start to straighten the legs, a little bit of a stretch, and straighten up, and I think it's time for a cup of tea.